Are you ready to start living a more confident, successful, and safe life, regardless of what's going on in the world or what has happened in your past? Then you're at the right place at the right time. The FemVincible podcast, where we bring you content and guests to help you focus on moving forward as the powerful you that you were truly meant to be. So welcome to FemVincible. Good morning, everyone. I am so glad that you're here. And I'm really surprised that Facebook and everything started acting right off the bat. Awesome, right? So welcome to this morning's episode of the FemVincible podcast. Today is, it is the 5th of November already. And today, what I want to talk to you about, it's just me today, but I read something yesterday and it really stuck in my head. And I was reading a marketing book, and it's just really good. So the thing that I saw, it was 3 ways that a company can respond to like a change in the economy or a change in what customers want. Whatever. It was really smart, but in that part, it doesn't really apply to us. But I looked at it and said, wait a minute, something is resonating here with me. And I want to put it together and see how it comes out in my head. And it came out pretty good. So I wanted to share it with you. And it makes sense, that something in marketing, a business thing, would also work in being safe. Why would that make sense? Because everything that I teach in FemVincible, in all the courses, can also be used to keep yourself safe, but it can also be used in your own success, in your business, in your relationships, whatever. So it makes sense. And once you've done a course or two of mine, you'll see how easily the principles and skills from FemVincible can also switch over to making you more successful in your work in business or whatever. Anyway, let's get on with it, right? So the 4 things that showed up for me were, well, let's see, how do I want to say that? We're going to say that there's 4 possible responses you can have to danger when it plops right there in front of you, or whatever it is, right? A danger, and it can be a violent experience. It can be danger, which includes storms and natural disasters and such, or even just a challenge in your life, like losing your job or having a sickness show up in your life that's going to change everything for you. So the first one, and I came up with these yesterday. I mean, this list and how to look at it. So next time I talk about it, I might have some better words to explain it. But this is new and fresh and raw, and you get it that way because I wanted to share it. Okay. So the first one is basically responding to it in a way that says you feel helpless or hopeless. And that I would call victimization. It means, oh no, I've got my shiny glasses on, don't I? Let me fix that. Sorry about that, everybody. So it's we can call it victimization. It means that there's nothing you can see to do. Yeah, I just have to accept this. Yeah, I'm being robbed. Yes, I've lost my job. There's nothing I can do. And it reminded me when I read of that, there was an experiment a guy did, Martin Seligman, back in 1965. It was an experiment he did on hopelessness or helplessness. And he did it with dogs. And I read about it and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's a horrible experiment. Why would you do that to dogs? But he did it. And there's a very interesting lesson from it. And I'll just briefly explain it to you. He would take a dog and he had these 2 compartments. with a little wall that the dog could jump over to go from one side to the other. Well, one side, the side that the dog starts in, had an electrified floor, so it would shock them. And what would happen is there were some stuff that led up to this too. There's some other small parts of the experiment. But the point of it was when the dog was shocked, generally they would just jump over to the area where the floor wasn't shocking them. But when they were not able to get out and they just kept getting shocked, they would, find a place of hopelessness. And then even when they had the chance to jump over to the other side again, when the floor was shocking them, after they had been conditioned to know that they couldn't get away from the shocking, they wouldn't try to get away. And many times the dogs would just lay down on the floor that's shocking them. So they had learned that there was no hope. They were just a victim of this. There was no escape. They just laid down and accepted it. A horrible experiment, but a very interesting one in what it says about what we as animals, how we respond when we feel hopeless. So that's the first reaction to danger or challenge or violence, that if you're already in a place of hopelessness or helplessness and you just can't see a way out, you don't have enough belief in yourself, that you just kind of accept it as that's the way it is. Okay, that's the first one. We don't want that to be the case. The second one is a reaction to violence. Now we're talking about a physiological, psychological reaction. So you've probably heard of the fight, flight, freeze response. That's your reaction. Okay. And that's, that goes throughout so much of the animal kingdom, but of course, it's also in us, where when something scares us, we're faced with a robber, where we hear someone coming into the house, whatever it may be, we may be ready to fight. Our body will actually get ready to fight, with adrenaline and things that happen in our body, which I can explain on a different episode. Or we turn and run away, or we freeze and we can't do anything. So that's a reaction to violence or to danger or to a challenge. And in the workplace, that might be that you're losing your job and you can't think of anything to do. You're so afraid that maybe you don't even look for another job until you're out of yours, and your back's against a wall. Okay, so reaction can save you, but there's something better. The third way you can respond to, or that you may respond to violence or danger or challenge, is an actual response to it. So you're responding to the danger. Now, the way that I explain that one is this: you have enough capability, whether it's because of your training or your experience, or you having dealt with similar experiences before. This is when you see the danger in front of you and you're able to, instead of going into fight, flight, or freeze, you can now look at it and go, what are some options that I have? What can I do? What do I need to fight this person? Can I turn and run? Can I jump into the shadows and hide? Can I get help from someone that's standing nearby? Can I shout to the police officer that's over there? Can I run into the grocery store where there's a lot of people and then this guy can't hurt me? So in that response place, you are seeing the danger or the violence is, showing up in your life, and you can step back, evaluate it some, and decide what to do. Okay. So that's the best one so far, right? Because it gives you options that are far better than maybe just fight or flight, and is extremely ahead of just be victimized. Okay, number 4. The fourth one, I don't really have a good name for this one. I'll have to figure it out. But the fourth one is a preventative experience. What's a preventative exercise? So in this instance, what you do is you are preparing even more than you did for the response situation, right? Because when you're responding, that might be that you took a self-defense class or martial arts class or a firearms class so that you have some new ideas, or an escape class, something like what I teach. But in this one, and when we're talking about initiating a preventive exercise, I really need better words for this. Let me just explain what it is. This is where you're preparing yourself ahead of the game, not just to respond to the violence. You're preparing yourself in a way that any impact of a violent situation is decreased, and as well as the chance of that dangerous thing happening to you is decreased. So you're creating activity in your life, hopefully a new lifestyle that you live every day. And that lifestyle makes the people who would do violence or harass or abuse or manipulate, it makes those people go, I don't want to mess with them, or I don't think I should. I better go somewhere else. Or once they start, they can see that, I've picked the wrong girl. I've picked the wrong person. I need to stop what I'm doing and go elsewhere. That's the bigger win. And part of that preparing yourself, that initiating a lifestyle that is, let's call it self-powerful, because it's you finding your own power, your own capability, and maybe creating things in your life that you didn't even realize you could before. Okay, so even if something does start to happen, it means you now have an even greater breadth of responses that you can make, which is super. The more options you have in any bad situation always turns out better for you, right? So not only does it help you to prevent things from going on, but it keeps you in such control, energetically and psychologically, because, we've talked about when you're in a place of fear, you start losing your ability to make executive choices. You can't decide what to do as well. You can't make clear choices on what's around you because a different part of your brain's taken over. But when you've initiated that lifestyle where you can be safer because you're more prepared, because you're more capable, because you are more self-reliant and not worried that you need someone else to save you, not only does that give off the vibe that will stop those predators and abusers from coming towards you in the first place or targeting you in the first place, it also means when they try to do something, you have greater responses that can make them go, even in the middle of an attack, possibly, to go, wait, I feel like I've grabbed a wildcat instead of something that was supposed to be, easily manipulatable, like a bunny. And here it is, I've grabbed a wildcat. So that kind of preparation is so powerful because it does create the opportunity for the best outcome of all when there's a danger around, whether it's a predator, abuser, a rapist, a kidnapper, or whatever, where they see you and go, I'm just not even going to go there. The best thing that happened, no one attacks you at all, right? So that's how it works with an attacker. One, less chance of them ever attacking you at all. Two, that you have a greater response, even if they do attack you, that you can stop it or cut it off, or stop it before it gets too dangerous or too violent. And if you need to disable them. Okay, that's a whole lot of power and a whole lot of capability for an attacker. But it also works the same when you're looking at other kinds of challenges. You know, that losing your job thing. If you have only practiced your little space of this is my specialty and my job, right? If you lose your job and that's all you've ever looked at and all you've ever practiced, then you must look for either a job doing that exact same thing in that specialty box, or something that would probably be far lower paying because it would be all that was available. You know, so how do you prepare for that? You broaden your view, broaden your interest. You know, even while in your own job, you might be kind of stretching yourself, talking to your boss, hey, I want to try this too. Hey, I want to be on this team. You know, I'd like to give this a try. I would like to initiate this program for the company that I think it would help. So you can see by stretching yourself outside of that box of your specialty, you've given yourself more creativity, more options in case something does happen. If they are about to, you know, have to start cutting employees, maybe they look at you and go, well, you know, she started that program last year. Maybe instead of firing her, we can put her in another position. Or, you know, that those same programs that you did, you now put on your resume, which is outside of the specialty box, and other businesses can go, oh, great, she has that. Yeah, we'll hire her. So that, you see what I'm saying? There's a whole lot of possibilities. The more you prepare yourself, the less likely the danger happens. And the more likely, if the danger does happen, that you can get through it safely and effectively. Pretty cool, right? So here's what I want you to do. I want you to think about those 4 things a little bit. And maybe in different parts of your life, you are already using those things. You know, is there a place in your life that you feel completely helpless? You know, if somebody did this, I would have no idea. The best I could do is just hope they wouldn't hurt me and I could stay alive. Or can you start feeling less helpless by learning about yourself? And maybe that means an exercise class. Maybe it means, you know, taking a college course or 2, something to help you start seeing the possibilities in your life so that you don't face any dangerous situation, any challenge in a place of complete hopelessness or helplessness, because then the outcome is completely up to whatever is causing the danger or the challenge, right? So yeah, once you get past that, you can actually be in the react space where your body's willing to respond, fight, flight, freeze. And beyond that, you know, you learn even more. What can I do in these situations? How can I be ready for a job change, a school change, the loss of a spouse, or whatever it may be? And best of all, prepare yourself before so that you have many more options in any situation. Okay, so take a look at your current life. Where do you feel hopeless? Where do you feel like if something happened, I'm just going to have to hope that fate gets me through it? And what things in your life do you feel like you really have an opportunity to grow into with a little bit of work, so that if something does happen to you negatively, that you can respond better? Respond, not react. And then looking even broader in your life, what things can you do right now so that next week you're more capable? Next month, you're even more, as you start living a life, living skills, living practices in your daily life that make you really capable to handle a lot more. Of course, I teach those kinds of things, but not everybody can come to my courses, right? So look at those things, find them in your life, and start doing a little research for yourself to find out, what can you do? What are the possibilities? Okay, that's it for today. I'm going to keep it short for you because I know sometimes I drag it out quite a bit, right? Be sure, let's see, next week is the, what is it, the 12th? Yeah, I think I have a guest for you next week. And I'm pretty sure. I just looked that up. Let me look really quick just to be sure. Yes, I do. Okay. And you're going to like her a lot. So be sure to show up next week. I'm not going to tell you who it is yet, but I will put out a post about it Monday or Tuesday. Okay. Yeah, it's going to be good. Anyway, thanks for being here today. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you think of these. I've only been doing these for, well, not very long now, but I enjoy doing them. I enjoy taking the opportunity to share these little bits of information with you to help you be a little bit more confident, a little bit safer, and to have guests on to help you see that it is possible to get through trauma, that it is possible to be a survivor and then thrive in life and not just get by on the bare minimum survival life, So yeah, let me know what you think of these. And if there's somebody that you know of that you think would be a great guest, please let me know. And I can reach out to them and see if they're a good fit for our show. And it'd be terrific to have them on, especially if they're providing something really good for all of you that take the time to show up and listen to the recordings. Okay. Yep. That is it for today. Again, thanks for being here. I appreciate all of you so much. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you next week. Take care. Bye-bye. This has been a production of LabCath LLC and FemVincible.com.